What's up guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new episode of my F1 2017 career mode, and we are here for the penultimate race of season 5 for the Brazilian Grand Prix, round number 19 of the season to be exact. And as you can see, jumping into Friday practice here, we are going to move into the practice programs and trying to get the car shaken down for the conditions, and also trying to maximize the amount of resource points we have. We did have a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest, but overall I really struggled for this one. Couldn't really hit the nail on the head, and I got a couple of poor scores, and just overall was a disappointing practice session. But if you sort of brush that aside, in terms of how the car felt, I think I've got a good car underneath me. It feels pretty damn good, and there is dry conditions expected for the rest of the weekend, so I've got more of a dry setup on the car, and I haven't really tailored it to the wet by any means. Also running a lot of low aero to really try and be fast in a straight line, so we'll see how that works out for us. But jumping into Saturday qualifying, I felt confident with the car underneath me to try and do a job, and straight away in Q1 we got on the yellow wall soft compound tyres, and our first lap is okay, P8, nothing spectacular by any means, so I had to go back out on super softs as I was in the relegation zone, and I had to sort of respond. So we jump up into P10 just behind Felipe Massa there, and we actually get through just behind my teammate. But that lap was actually a bit concerning because I was near the limit. I wasn't holding back that much. I didn't have that much pace to hold back, so I was a little bit concerned going to Q2 of what I could produce. And straight away in Q2 we do put in a pretty good lap for P9 there in our first attempt, and then I went out for a second run to try and improve on that because we got once again pushed into the knockout zone, and we had to really come up with a big lap here in Q2. And I don't know how I did it, but I managed to come up with a spectacular lap in the dying embers of Q2, and I didn't think I'd make it, but with this lap I managed to pull something out of the bag, and we're going to jump all the way into P8 and just make it through after getting briefly knocked down to P12. But that was a very, very tough lap, and I was like, okay, you know what, I've gone to Q3. It's pretty much a miracle that I've managed to pull it out with a lap that good, and I don't know if I'll be able to beat it. I mean, the lap time says it all. It's a pretty damn good lap there with a low 108, so going into Q3, I was sort of skeptical in terms of what I could do over one lap, because there is rain expected at the end of the session, so it's either one lap or nothing. So I've got to make this one count, and hopefully it's a pretty good one. So here we go straight away through turns 1 and 2 and 3, and so far it's not too bad. I definitely could have maybe been a little bit more fine through 1 and 2, a little bit more precise with my line, but either way, not too shabby. So brake hard now for turn 4, down to 4th gear briefly, then up to 5th on the exit, flat out through the kink of turn 5, and then now making our way into turn 6, double apex right-hander, and you have the confidence to keep the throttle absolutely planted through here as we slow it down for the next right-hand hairpin that feeds now into a sort of downhill left-hander. Very easy to lock up through here, and also very easy to lose the back end on traction as we now go into a swooping hairpin right-hander here. This middle sector basically is what all it consists of, as we now go down the hill, down the Interlagos, and we're going to come across a second sector split, and we're currently 8 tenths down on Sergio Perez as we now go through the last major corner and braking point on the track, getting some very good traction, which is absolutely critical, as that will dictate the amount of straight line speed you have on this straight. And now DRS wide open to run it up to the line, and let's see what this lap is. It's a 108.5, so 2 tenths or maybe a tenth and a half shy of what we did in Q2 on our best attempt. So unfortunately it's a bit disappointing, but realistically not really much more we could have done. I maybe could have just got past Ricardo, but I mean, yeah, it was going to be impossible. I think where we finished was pretty much where it was going to happen. So P8, the best we could have done. The lap was pretty good on one attempt, and I didn't really think it would have been as good as that anyway. I was expecting a much worse lap. So pretty pleased I managed to pop in that lap time and get 8th place, which is definitely far, far better than I expected going into this weekend, because straight away after Q1 I thought we was in serious trouble. So overall, bit damage limitation in qualifying, but now we're going to move into Sunday for the race for round number 19 of the season for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Right, here we are then for race day for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we are here on P8 in the grid, and not too bad to say the qualifying we had. And overall, I was a little bit concerned about the pace of the car. I was 110% of the limit of what I could perform in qualifying yesterday, and honestly speaking, P8 was probably the best I could have done. Really just, the car does not feel great around here, and I was really trying to find as much time as possible. The car was very much on the limit, and every single one of my runs in qualifying had to be, pretty much spot on. So we really, had a good qualifying in my opinion, and we used all the tyres that were available to us, and we tried our best. But in terms of today's race, for the race strategy, you can see we do have dry tyres throughout, because even though it is raining, I don't think it's raining enough for the intermediate. So we will be basically just racing from dries all the way through this race. So strategy-wise, based off of past seasons, I've learned my lesson. I've got to stay off for the medium tyres. So with that in mind, we're just going to try and basically go for it on the more aggressive compounds and just basically go as fast as we can for about 30 odd laps. So hopefully that will work out for us, and fingers crossed it all goes well. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the race. Round number 19 for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Right, here we go then. We're going to get ready for the 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for Brazil, and it's a good start off the line actually. Ricardo on the soft compound tyres here. We're going to be on the inside of turn 1. Got to be careful with the grip though. Ocon does lock up a bit, but we've got to be very careful with the amount of grip on the track surface at the moment. We've got a Renault on my inside in the form of Nico Hulkenberg here. Back end getting a little bit snappy. It's definitely not the worst conditions I've ever driven in, but I've got to be careful. Hulkenberg's still there. I'm just going to cut my nose across him and try and shut him off here, but so far it's pretty good. We are looking very racy early on. The grip is very limited, I'm not going to lie. We've got to be very careful where we place our car, but so far we've not lost any places. We're still in the 8th place that we started the race in, but the first lap can be interesting. In these sort of conditions in the last race in Mexico, I did have some good pace, and here we go. We're going to go up the inside of Ocon meanwhile as he goes very slow into the brake zone there, but I was saying in the last race in Mexico we had some great pace in these sort of changing conditions before the track eventually did go dry. So who knows, these might suit us as we go back up the inside of Ocon here. Can we make the position stick? I'm just going to squirt the throttle on, and there we go. We've made it work, and we're up into P7. So now we can chase after Ricardo, but we'll have to wait and see what our pace is like. I think we're faster than Ricardo considering he's on softs, but then realistically the top 5 are going to be pretty much untouchable. So I think this race, if we can keep Ocon behind, that would be pretty fantastic, but we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. I'm gaining in a straight line here on Daniel Ricciardo quite a lot here. The straight line speed, I'm running pretty low aero on this car. I'm just going to go for it on the brakes. I've got a bit of confidence on, underneath me, and Ricciardo obviously struggling on those slower tyres, and we're just going to go on the outside. The amount of grip in these conditions is just astronomical, to be honest, because I expected it to be far more worse than this, but the car feels great, and obviously Ricciardo on those soft compound tyres won't have as good grip as us on super soft, so he will be struggling for a bit as he's now under attack from Esteban Ocon. But we're now up into P6. Now the question is, can we go any further, or realistically is this the part now where we start going backwards? We'll have to wait and see, but for now, a very good opening start to this race. Okay, so far we're keeping up with the 3 in front, the 2 Mercedes and Kimi Raikkonen, who don't particularly have great pace. I think there's more the Mercedes than the Ferrari, obviously, but both of the Subaru are struggling for some pace. Meanwhile, I've just realised I'm very aggressive on fuel. I didn't actually realise how bad it was. I'm minus 1.72, so I'm shifting pretty early here, and also I'm going to have to use lean mix at some points unless we get a safety car, but so far it's going pretty well. I think obviously the very low fuel was helping me out with my overall pace, but so far we're keeping up with this 3 guys in front of us, and the rain is still here, which does definitely suit my car better than the full dry conditions, because I feel like, I don't know why, I've got some good pace in these sort of mixed conditions, in sort of a dry tyres on a wet track situation. So the longer it stays like this, the better, but I do realise it's going to dry in a minute. But also strategy wise, hopefully we can stick to the strategy. I don't know how much more this weather's going to wear out my tyres, but hopefully it's not too bad. But so far the car is driving very nicely in these conditions, and we're comfortably holding P6, so long may it continue. We've got a bit of a 3 wide situation now up front with the 2 Mercedes and Kimi Raikkonen here. Raikkonen now making the move on Bottas, and he's actually made it stick. So Raikkonen up into P4, Bottas drops down to P5. The track has just started to go fast now. The rain has officially stopped, so things are going to start picking up now in terms of overall race pace. So the question is now in this phase, do we have the pace to race these guys here today? I don't think we do. I think Ocon's probably going to pass me, but we'll have to wait and see. Can we try and make this a good race? Okay, Esteban Ocon is very close to me this lap, and he's going to try and make the move here. He has got DRS enabled, but I'm just looking, he's actually really committing to a move. I do have some very low aero, like I said, and my straight line speed is pretty good. I'm running, I think, 5.6 aero, definitely lower than what you'd expect around here to sort of suit the capabilities of our car, because I felt like I didn't really need the higher downfall, so hopefully that helps out in straight line speed. Here comes Ocon. I'm going to squeeze him a bit here. He's going to commit to the inside. I'm going to go on the outside of him and just hold it, so that's going to help us out. We're up to P5, so I think someone might have just pit. I didn't really pay attention to it, but either way, we are doing well so far, and these tyres are holding on. I haven't actually looked at the wear. I don't really want to look at them because they feel pretty good. So I want to just try and stay on these, because the longer we stay on these tyres, the better it's going to suit us this race. So really, I don't really want to care about too much about the tyre wear, and I'm sort of just focusing on the race itself. Okay, once again, here comes Ocon. This time he's committing to the inside into turn 1 here. I'm going to try and hold it on the brakes, but Ocon is very late on the brakes into turn 1. He's going to make the move here. I'm just going to basically settle to follow him because he's got a better pace than me anyway, so I'm pretty better off just following him, and I'll just try and nab the DRS if I can. But I think Ocon's pace might be a bit too strong for me to keep up. But who knows, he might drag me a bit closer towards Valtteri Bottas, who doesn't seem to have great pace in the other Mercedes car. But for now, we're down the P6, but we've got a nice little gap behind the Hulkenberg, so let's just try and settle in this position and try and follow Ocon for as long as we can. Okay, so we've got another car in the pit lane in the form of Sergio Perez. I'm going to stay out. I've just looked at my tyres. I'm pushing 50% wear on my rears, but I'm going to stay out because I feel like I've still got some okay pace. Like I said, I'm doing personal bests, although the conditions don't really, you know, obviously you can't really take that for granted, but I feel like the longer we stay out, the more it's going to suit us this race, whether it's for a safety car, VSC, or just overall strategy. I do want to try and commit to this 2-stop, so, and also obviously the key thing is not avoiding the medium, so I want to try and pull off this 2-stop whilst running the softs, and I know one of the sets, I believe, is not fresh. So with that in mind, this stint is really important that we get as much life out of it as possible whilst running at a competitive pace. Okay, we've got more cars in the pit lane, and that's going to promote us now into 3rd place, and we've got another car exiting the pit lane already, so that's how far ahead some of those guys are. Bottas staying out, and now Massa is behind me as the next car, so he's on the same tyres as me, but his will be a little bit fresher as he didn't qualify on those. But so far going pretty well. I still think I've got a bit of pace left in this car, so I want to try and extract it before I switch over to the softs. Okay, so we're going to come into the pit lane this lap, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock it down to lean to try and save a little bit of extra fuel whilst in the pit lane. But now we've got to try and push this entry as much as we can to try and gain a lot of time. And there we go, that was absolutely perfect. We've got another car in the pit lane in the form of Valtteri Bottas, so there he goes. We're going to switch over to the yellow wall soft compound tyres, and hopefully these work out for us. We're not going to get held up by anybody, so absolutely perfect pit stop. So we're going to get on our way, and all these sort of top guys are sort of stuck in traffic with those who started on the slower tyres, so this is going to help us in terms of not losing any major time, and also still remain fighting for those key positions. But now let's try and get up to speed on this tyre here. There's Hulkenberg, who pit a lap before me, and he's managed to undercut me, but he's on super soft, so different strategy for the Renault, so we're not really racing him. So let's try and see how far we can go. We ain't got any fresh tyres left now. Both my softs and super softs are worn, so if these tyres feel good, the longer I take these into the race, the better, and that way I can leave myself open for either a super soft or another soft stint at the end of the race. So let's try and set some good pace, but also try and keep these tyres alive. Okay, so we're right at the back of Hulkenberg here, and he's sort of battling out with Kvyat and Grosjean, who are on worn soft compound tyres. Also, Massa has caught me up, so he's got some good pace, especially on those fresh softs, as we give Hulkenberg a little love kiss there. But hopefully we can make a few moves now going up the hill onto lap number 16 here, because we are very close to these guys, and also Hulkenberg on his newer super softs is definitely getting held back, and it's not really allowing him to really use up the fresh rubber he's got. But here we go, we've got a run on Hulkenberg. We're going to pull to the inside and try and box him in. We've got a 3-wide situation here with Grosjean. We're going to fly past the pair of them and make a double overtake into turn 1. That is absolutely perfect, as we accidentally got into 3rd gear there, but up in 9th place now and back into the points of a lovely little double overtake. But now Hulkenberg with DRS might be a threat as we race down into turn 4. He's getting close. I don't think he's going to be close enough though, so we are going to hold on for now as we now pursue Danny Kvyat. Okay, Kvyat and also I believe that's Jolyon Palmer do actually come in, so they're going to give me DRS and release me. Hulkenberg getting very close, but we're going to go up into 7th place and get promoted here. But this is pretty much the best I think we can finish this race, unless something happens in the top 6. So with that being said, as I have a bit of a screen freeze there, we're going to have to defend our position here for as long as we can and as hard as we can. Here comes Hulkenberg. He's looking racy. I didn't think he'd commit to the inside, but he has. I'm going to have to go around the outside at turn 4. Hulkenberg, with an extra bit of grip on those super softs, has made the move into 7th place, but I'm very close. I'm going to try and set him offline a bit and maybe try and re-overtake him here. I tend to get a good run through here with the AI as they break a bit early, but Hulkenberg on super softs has just got a bit too much grip for me. So Hulkenberg up in the 7th place as I have another screen freeze there, and we're going to have to settle for 8th and sort of battle it out with Felipe Massa here. But so far not too bad. I mean, the top guys are, I believe, both of the Force Seniors, both of the Ferraris and Mercedes, who normally we don't really have the pace to fight. So if we can beat 2 Red Bulls this race, I'd be very happy. So far we're doing a good job of that, and let's just try to follow Hulkenberg as hard as we can. We will have his DRS, I think, so that should give us a little bit of time to try and defend from Felipe Massa, who's approaching me at a fast rate of knots behind. He's also got DRS here, so Massa going for a move. I'm going to fight him because he's on the same tyres as me here, so let's try and go side by side. Massa, he goes right outside the turn 1 in his home race, but we are going to hold on and maintain this 8th place for a little bit longer here. So the longer this goes on, the better, because like I said, we're trying to get this stint length out as much as we can, and strategy wise I want to leave my options open for the final stint. Okay, here comes Massa. This time he does have DRS, I don't, so I might be a little bit defenseless here into turn 1. I'm going to cover the inside. Massa's going to look for it, but no way through, and also we've got a couple of Red Bulls coming alive in this race. There's, I think that's Verstappen trying to go around the outside of Felipe Massa here. He is on super soft, so the Red Bulls will be pretty quick. I'm sort of hoping Massa can stay in front of here, so I'm going to try and give Massa a slipstream into turn 4, and there we go. Massa has managed to edge himself in front of the Red Bulls here, but it's Williams versus Red Bull here at Interlagos by the look of it, and if we can both finish ahead of both of the Red Bulls, I'll be very, very happy with that result. Okay, Nico Hulkenberg comes into the pit lane, and also Raikkonen has pit, and he's rejoined just behind this train of myself, Massa, Verstappen and Ricciardo, and he's on super soft, so Raikkonen will be stopping at least one more time this race. So if that is the case, Kimi might be struggling in terms of finishing ahead of us, because we've all got one more stop to make, so this could be interesting. Ricciardo has pit, I believe, so he's going for the undercut, I think, of Verstappen. I'm not sure which one of the two it is, but I'm going to commit to my strategy here. I'm going to try and go into super softs in the final stint, so therefore I need to get this stint out to about lap 25, so I'm going to try and commit to that and try and make it happen as I get my second track extend of the race. But I feel confident I can pull it off. My tyres are holding up pretty nicely, and I think I can make it work, so let's try and get onto those supers for the final stint. Okay, Kimi Raikkonen has made the move on Felipe Massa quite comfortably, and now he's all over the back of me, so he's going to try and look for the overtake here. I can see on mirrors, I think he's got a bit of front wing damage from what I can tell. I can't actually see from that angle, but look at the straight line speed we have here. Raikkonen can't actually make the move as Massa comes in, and we've got another car in the pit lane, so we're now up into P5, but at the back end getting at me a little bit here, but Raikkonen trying to make the overtake, and I can see a bit of front wing damage on his right front side, but here comes Raikkonen to the inside. I'm going to defend a little bit. I'm not going to go overly aggressive. Raikkonen, though, understeers wide. He's just going to push me out and makes the move there for P5. Ricciardo now is up next on medium, so he's going pretty interesting in terms of his tyre strategy this race. Right, so out of nowhere, rain has been forecast for 10 minutes time, which is very odd because I was not on at the beginning of the race. So if that is the case, we're going to have to prepare for a bit of a damp shower at the end, but we're going to come in for super softs because I can't make these tyres last any longer, and we're going to switch over to a used set of super softs. They should go to the end because I did 11 or 12 laps on my first stint on used ones from qualifying, so this should be no different. The stint left should be pretty much the same, if not a little bit easier on these tyres because we've not actually got as much fuel in the car. So a 2-second bang on pit stop there. There's Hulkenberg on softs, and there is Verstappen on softs making the move on Palmer, and there is Massa. So these guys are all sort of pretty close to each other now, but we're going to have the better tyres to try and race these guys. So let's try and get up to speed. Let's try and cut ahead of Daniel Kvyat, which I think we might just do, and there we go. Felipe Massa just up the road, so let's try and chase him down and put these tyres to good use. Right, I'm going to have DRS on Jolyon Palmer here. He has got some pretty good straight line speed. That Renault is definitely no slouch in a straight line, but we're going to open up the rear flap. It might not be a move into turn 1, but we can definitely size him up for a move into turn 4 here. So here we go. I'm going to try and brake nice and late into turn 1 here. Really try and get close to Jolyon and try and get the power on. Have the faith in the tyres that the car will stick, and here we go. We're now much closer to Palmer. We are still a bit far away here, to be fair, and he's got DRS from Massa, which isn't going to help me out, so it's going to have to be a late lunge on the brakes. Here we go, Ricciardo style. There we go. I don't often do those, but when I do, I make him stick, and that was very nicely done there. Nice bit of front end grip, and we can now try and get ahead of Felipe Massa. I mean, this race, I don't know if I'm going to beat the Red Bulls now or Hulkenberg, because as the race has gone on, I've realised I don't have the pace. I mean, this car just doesn't have the pace around here. So if we can just beat Massa and sort of spoil the home party, then that would make me very happy. So let's try and at least get past the Brazilian. Just struggling to really make the inroads to Massa. We're neck and neck for pace. I think my scrub tyres are definitely starting to pay the price. I will make it to the end, no problem, but I'm just struggling to break inside that 1 second window on Felipe here, so I'm going to need him to make a mistake or maybe find some magical pace from somewhere, because I don't feel like it's going to happen. Oh wait, Hulkenberg's just run off the road here. Oh no, Red Bull, I can't tell. I think it's Verstappen. Yeah, Verstappen's run off the road, and a yellow flag. He might have retired, I'm not sure, but either way, we're into the points as I just stopped that. I think he was under pressure from Raikkonen, so I'm guessing he maybe might have locked up into turn 4, but that's now us into the point. So Massa here just in front of us. If we could just get past him, that would be pretty much a very good P9 for us and a very well-deserved 2 points. I want to try and get him. Okay, here we go then, down the Interlagos, I believe, for the final time, into the last final corner, and overall a disappointing one. I mean, we're going to score a point, but really, if it wasn't for Verstappen, it wouldn't have been the case, and after starting 8th place, I think it's pretty tricky to replicate that. I knew I didn't have the pace this weekend, and I really struggled. I don't know why, even Massa beat me on raw pace, so yeah, I think that, you know, keeping that in mind, I think a point is decent. I mean, I wasn't really going into this race with any expectation. Straight away after practice, I knew I was in trouble this weekend, and similar to Kota, to be honest. I mean, Kota, we got lucky with the double safety car and managed to get a really good strategy with us, but this race, you know, just we tried our best. We avoided the mediums, and it didn't really work out, but either way, I was pretty happy with the performance. I mean, the main thing for me is the car actually felt good, so I was able to push, but I just, what me pushing on the limit was just not enough, simple as that. But the big news from this race is Sebastian Vettel has won, and Raikkonen nowhere to be seen on the podium, and this could be massive for the championship, with 4 points difference, with Raikkonen leading ahead of Vettel into this race. Going into the finale, I think into the finale, Vettel will probably have a very healthy lead over his teammate, and this could finally be the time where Vettel clinches the World Drivers' Championship. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Both of the Mercedes do join him on the podium, though. But overall, a very mixed Brazilian Grand Prix. But we are now going to move into the final race results, drivers and constructor standings, to see how everything shapes up going into the final race of Season 5 of this career mode. Right, looking at the final race results for the Brazilian Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel wins it, and Hamilton and Bottas join him on the podium. Daniel Ricciardo finishes in P4 ahead of Esteban Ocon, with Kimi Raikkonen only managing 6th place on a 3-stop strategy, the only man to do so in the top 13. But Hulkenberg in P7 there. Pretty good result for him in the Renault after starting from P9. Felipe Massa getting a brilliant 8th place in his home race, with Sergio Perez dropping down to P9. And for some reason, some sort of timing glitch here. I don't know what's happened, but he's only finished apparently half a tenth in front of me. Odd, because I didn't really see him on track at the end there, so I don't know what happened. But also, we managed to round out the points and beat Jolyon Palmer there. Verstappen only managing P12, and in terms of retirements, none in this race actually. So quite a unique scene for that one. But as you can see, going into the finale now, and this is very interesting. Obviously, we're now officially out of the running, so I'll probably do like a last to first in the last race, and I'll probably do a 100% race. But the battle for the Ferraris is going to be interesting. Sebastian Vettel goes into the last race 6 points ahead of his teammate, and simple as pretty much whoever wins the race wins the championship. Simple as that. So it's going to be very, very exciting to watch as a neutral and sort of from a distance. But in terms of the constructors, you can see that we do pretty much hold 4th place now, and that is confirmed for the constructor. So a very good debut season in Williams. But overall, that is going to wrap things up for this episode, guys. If you have enjoyed it, then please do slap a like on the video. Also subscribe if you're new to the channel, and also please be sure to check out these videos on screen if you have missed them by chance. And also check out GT Omega in the links down below in the description, and use the code TOM97 for 45% discount on any of your purchases. But other than that, guys, a massive thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next episode very soon. Goodbye.